time has gone on, the technology supporting school safety continues to advance.
Some people like to listen to podcasts on their commute. Others prefer music. But OPB state politics reporter Dirk VanderHart starts his day listening to legislative hearings on his way from Portland to Salem.
Because they never stop at this time of year.
This time of year being springtime, or in the case of the Oregon Legislature, crunch time.
Yeah, so hearings begin at 8 a.m. Monday through Thursday in the legislature. I am not down in Salem by 8 a.m. So typically I'm listening to hearings on the entire 50-minute to an hour drive down. Sometimes I'll be listening to hearings on the entire 50-minute to an hour and a half drive back. And it is just an incredible amount of information to take in at all times.
Legislative hearings might not be your idea of scintillating entertainment, but right now, there's a lot happening in the state capitol that will affect all Oregonians in some way. It's an odd-numbered year, which means the Oregon Legislature has a session that stretches from January to June. This is when they have to pass a 2-year budget, and of course, other bills that are critical to keep the state running. From the Gert Boyle studio, I'm Jen Chavez, and this is The Evergreen, a podcast from OPB about the place you call home. Podcast producer Julie Sabatier tagged along with Dirk for a day to see what's going on behind the scenes of our state government. I'll let her take it from here.
I'm a bit of a civics nerd, so going to the state capitol is always a fun work day for me. But I've never been a Capitol reporter, so I was grateful to Dirk for letting me pester him with questions all day long. What are we doing? Okay, so what's happening right now? What's happening? Where are we going? What are we looking at? What are we doing? He was very patient with me. Our first stop was a few minutes away from the Capitol building on the campus of Willamette University.
You're walking into Gatke Hall. This is the temporary site of OPB's Capitol Bureau because they are doing major renovations on the Capitol. So this is where we live.
We headed up a flight of red marble stairs to the office, which is, frankly, a little sad. It's a small room crammed with 3 desks, 1 small window, and a mini fridge. It has bare walls and a radiator that has to be left on all the time or it will leak all over the floor. Dirk told me he found that out the hard way.
Right outside there, you can see the train tracks. There are trains that come by 5, 6, 7 times a day, just clanging, beeping, making as much noise as they possibly can. It is the perfect place for a radio office.
It is a great location in that it's just a short walk down State Street from the Oregon Capitol building. The Grand Capitol Rotunda is closed, along with other parts of the building. That's due to the renovation that's dragged out over the past 3 years. The idea is to fortify the Capitol in case of a large earthquake. There's actually only one entrance available to the public right now, and that includes the press. We walked through the metal detectors and put our stuff in plastic bins to be scanned, just like at the airport. We did get to keep our shoes on. We emerged into a busy hallway, which Dirk says is actually a key part of his job.
Walking through the hallways of this building is how you meet people and see who's around and ask people offhandedly what they're watching, what they think of the session, what bills they're worried about, what issues they care about. It's a great way to meet new sources. It's a great way to just take the temperature of the building and just run across people. Sometimes you turn up nothing, and sometimes you have like 8 good conversations. So we do a lot of walking when we cover the Capitol.
The construction noise was definitely noticeable. We made a brief stop at the Capitol gift shop, which is in a temporary space.
So this is the stripped-down Capitol gift shop, basically a window. A window in the wall that has a bunch of stuff behind it. It's almost like a little kiosk. But you can still get sandwiches and State of Oregon flag shirts and any sort of tchotchkes you want to buy to commemorate your day in the state's capital.
Such as models of the Golden Man on top of the building.
Yeah, that's a good one.
While we were looking at items in the gift shop, I chatted with Norma Ruby.
I'm the building use coordinator.
She told me that the renovation has made it challenging for her to find space for all the requests that come in from people who want to schedule an event. But obviously that hasn't dampened her enthusiasm.
I love when the building is really crowded because that means that democracy is happening and people is participating. And I think the most exciting part of my job is seeing how people is really getting involved in and participating in democracy, and I love that.
While I was talking to Norma, Dirk flagged down a lawmaker who was making her way through the hall.
So Julie's following me around today because we're going to let people into what it's like to be in the Capitol for a day, like people that don't care, right? How
There
it
are
works.
people that don't care, Dirk.
I wouldn't put it that way.
That feels harsh.
After a bit more banter, I asked the lawmaker to introduce herself.
My name's Kate Lieber. I'm senator from Senate District 14. Yeah.
And what are you holding right now? How would you describe this?
I'm holding my comically large binder that I take back and forth a couple of times a day in order to try to figure out how to put together a balanced budget.
That looks like a rainbow of tabs there on that very large, what is it, like a 2 or 3 inch binder
It is
there?
fantastic, yeah.
But truly, and I'll let you go, Senator, but truly, the budget is kind of the biggest deal in the Capitol this session, particularly because no one knows what's going to happen on the federal level. And so I would say everyone's kind of holding their breath for what we learn on May 14th when we get the latest revenue forecast, because that's going to dictate what she's able to do. I mean, am I wrong, Senator? Is that?
Well, I mean, I think the May forecast is what we always balance the budget off of. So that's the number we have to get to, right? I mean, the one thing constitutionally that the legislature has to do is pass a balanced budget.
Well, it sounds like you have lots of work to do. Thank you for stopping and talking to us.
Stopping, Senator.
You mean being accosted by Dirk?
Will you explain in very basic terms what she was talking about when she was referring to the May revenue forecast?
So the legislature sets a 2-year budget. But to do that, we need to know what our best guess is of how much tax money, essentially, we will take in over those 2 years, because we need to have some sense of what we can spend, right? We get a quarterly revenue forecast. So every 3 months we get one of these, but hands down the most important one of those is in odd years in May, that revenue forecast she's talking about, because that is the final forecast we get before lawmakers will pass a budget. It is essentially the final answer in terms of how much money we think we have to spend. And so that's what the budget is going to be. It's not always right, but that is the all-important number that everyone's looking to, because whatever comes in on that day is going to dictate how many bills can pass this year. So many bills have spending attached to them, and if we don't have any money to pay for them, they are basically automatically going to be off the table. So that is a hugely consequential day, and I think this year feels more consequential than others, again, just because of some of the federal uncertainty.
Dirk and I kept walking, and we saw a group of kids on a tour. Their tour guide, Lacey Smith, let me tag along for a few minutes as she showed them some photos and artifacts in glass cases.
So one of the big things that happened in that 1993 earthquake is it shifted the gold man a couple inches up on his plinth up there. So if he was to fall, he weighs 17,000 pounds. That's really scary. So they did some work. They bolted him down. They retrofitted the rotunda so that it would be safe. And then we're continuing that work right now. So we're going to keep going this way and then head up to the Senate chamber.
Dirk and I headed to the Senate chamber ourselves, where the floor session was about to begin.
Here's my rule of the Capitol. Here, Representative. All right. Oh, yourself? Good. Always take the stairs. Here, let's go in here.
Why do you always take the stairs?
Because it's 3 or 4 floors. They're not that hard. You're getting some sort of activity, and these elevators are janky, man. You never know what's going to happen in there. I think sometimes there are some fairly harrowing experiences. So I will always take the stairs, and I frankly don't understand people who don't.
Dirk clarified to me later that he was talking about people who can choose to either take the elevator or the stairs. Anyway, we came out of the stairwell and headed over to the Senate. Fun fact, the carpet is actually different in the House and Senate chambers. On the House side, it's a repeating pattern highlighting Oregon's state tree, the Douglas fir. And on the Senate side, the carpet has a similar geometric pattern, but the images are some wheat stalks and the official state fish, a Chinook salmon. You can actually buy socks with each of these patterns on them in the Capitol gift shop. And Dirk was wearing his Senate chamber socks on the day we were there.
Colleagues, the Senate will please come to order.
The floor session began with a lot of formalities, including the Pledge of Allegiance, an invocation, and
Courtesies of the Senate.
extending courtesies is a chance for senators to highlight particular issues or recognize special guests. In other words, shout-outs.
Mr. President, thank you. Colleagues, today is National Adopt a Shelter Pet Day.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I am honored to have my mom here today, Janie Tippett. You can stand up.
Oh, before we do move on, is St. Paul Parochial School in the gallery? Can you give us a wave this morning? Are you here? It's wonderful to have you in your capital. So courtesies of the Senate are extended to you. Hope you have a wonderful day. The clerk will please call the roll.
Anderson, Bonham, Broadman, Campos.
After the courtesies and the roll call, Senate President Rob Wagner moved on to remonstrances, which are essentially complaints.
Portland used to be a beautiful city. Now some people won't even visit Portland because they simply want to remember it as it was.
Mr. President, today is the last day of Child Abuse Prevention Month. Our rate of abuse of children in the care of Oregon Department of Human Services and the recurrence of all Oregon children for maltreatment has increased over the past 5 years.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I'm really concerned that our bipartisan work is coming to an end, and I'm very concerned that the one-party regime in this state is going to be moving bad policy without proper vetting, without proper Oregonian participation out of committee, and it's going to hurt Oregonians even more.
Then it was time for some more Senate business.
Messages from the House. Reports from committees. Propositions and motions. Action on executive appointments requiring Senate confirmation. Introduction and first reading of Senate measures. Second reading of Senate measures. Third reading of Senate measures. First reading of House measures. Second reading of House measures. Pass to the calendar. Third reading of House measures. The clerk will please read the first bill.
The first bill turned out to be about correcting erroneous material in Oregon tax law. That sounded pretty boring. So Dirk and I headed over to the House side to see what they were up to. They were about to pass a resolution that might sound familiar to keen Evergreen listeners.
Final reading and consideration of HCR 34. Representative Daniel Nguyen.
Mr. Speaker, as I've been preparing my remarks for this day, I was struck by the gravity of this moment in our history as we gather here in this chamber. House Concurrent Resolution 34, designating April 30th, 2025 as Vietnamese American Remembrance Day on the 50th anniversary of the end of the Vietnam War. This resolution is deeply personal to me. I am the child of Vietnamese refugees and the proud son of Second Lieutenant Nguyen Van Linh, an officer in the Army of the Republic of Vietnam. He served his country with honor, with loyalty, and with the belief that freedom was worth defending. 50 years ago this month, April 1975, my father left Vietnam with my mom and my 3 older siblings. He left behind a country he loved and the uniform he wore with pride. He fled not because he gave up, but because he believed his family deserved a chance to live free.
Coming up after a break, we dig into a bill that will probably have a direct effect on your life. Thanks for listening to The Evergreen, our podcast from OPB about the place you call home. If you dig what you hear, hey, subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app, and we'll brighten your Monday morning with something new and exciting to listen to each week. You can also follow OPB on Instagram at OPB Photo, or follow me directly at Jen Chavez OPB. That's Jen with 2 N's, and I'll keep you posted on what Team Evergreen is up to. And remember, this episode about what goes on at the Oregon Capitol and all the great OPB reporting and storytelling, including Dirk's great watchdogging of the Oregon Legislature, is made possible by the support of many thousands of OPB members. Support our journalism by becoming an OPB sustaining member today at opb.org/pod. And now, back to the show.
Dirk and I headed back to Willamette University to grab some lunch in the cafeteria. We saw a lot of other people who had apparently come from the Capitol, including a cluster of kids and grown-ups wearing red shirts. On our way back to the Capitol building, I stopped a small group of them to ask what they were up to.
My name's Ashley Schofield. I'm a parent in PPS, and I'm here to advocate for fully funding our public schools with a bunch of over 100 other parents today.
My name is Delaney Powers. I am 10 years old, and I'm making sure that my school and all Oregon schools are fully funded to make sure that everything is the way it should be instead of everything not the way it should be, if you get what I mean.
What are you really hoping will change?
I hope that we get better money to get more staff. We have good amounts of staff, but we're losing a bunch this year. So I think staff is a good place to start, and also the conditions in the schools.
After chatting with the school funding advocates on the sidewalk, Dirk and I headed back into the building for a meeting with a senator.
What's the rule? Always take the stairs.
That's right. Okay.
One, two.
Nope, 2? Okay.
Hi, I'm Chris Gorsuch. I am the state senator for Senate 25, and that is Gresham, Troutdale, Wood Village, and Fairview.
And you are co-chair of an important committee we're going to be talking about?
I am the co-chair of Joint Transportation, so that is a combined House and Senate committee, and I'm the co-chair with Representative Susan McClain.
Earlier this month, Senator Gorsuch and his Democratic colleagues rolled out a proposal for raising a bunch of money, about $1 billion a year, in new taxes and fees to pay for maintaining roads and bridges around the state. So in theory, these funds will go towards fixing potholes and improving sidewalks in your neighborhood, and help pay for some big projects such as replacing the interstate bridge. I asked Gorsuch to give me his pitch for the transportation bill.
Well, the main thing is that we're in a transition, and what we have to do first off is stabilize the Oregon Department of Transportation's budget, because they have a huge budget hole. And so that's with gas tax. The longer term thing will be to, over time, reduce gas tax and get rid of it eventually, and change that to vehicle miles traveled, or if you prefer, a road usage charge. But the idea then is that instead of not being able to capture hybrid and electric vehicles because they don't use as much or any gas, the idea will be that everybody then will get back to what the old system was, which everybody paid to maintain the roads.
And what has changed about kind of the framework for this package since it was rolled out earlier this month?
I think the main thing is now we're beginning to discuss with our Republican colleagues how they feel about some of the proposals that we're making. We aren't at liberty to talk about the negotiations, but they are going on.
The Democrats do have 3/5 supermajorities in both the Oregon House and Senate. That's the required margin for passing bills that raise taxes. And it means that Democrats could theoretically pass their transportation proposal without Republican support.
How prepared are the Democrats, in your mind, to force the vote and do it on a party line?
I think, just like with anything, you will find that there are some Democrats that are ready to vote right now and do a supermajority, but you'll also find many Democrats that would prefer it to be bipartisan.
Which one are you?
I would prefer it to be bipartisan because, look, it's hard to be in the minority party, and I do worry that, they feel like there's some concern on that side that we haven't listened to them as much. The one thing that's great about transportation is that there is a lot of potential and there is a lot of discussion that ends up being bipartisan, just by the very nature of the topic.
When are you guys dropping a bill on this?
We have Elsie working on it now, and the proposal is probably within the next week or two that it'll be dropped.
Okay.
Who's Elsie?
Oh, Legislative Council.
It's not a person named Elsie.
It's Elsie, yeah.
I was like, who else?
It's Elsie.
You know Elsie. She writes the bills.
She comes in once in a while, writes some bills. No, it's all of our lawyers.
Dirk and I had plans to interview Representative Shelley Bosshart Davis. She's the Republican vice chair on the Joint Transportation Committee. But plans can change quickly at the Capitol. It just so happened that on the day we were there, House Republicans were having a press conference to present their response to the Democrats' proposed transportation bill.
Hi, Dirk.
They held their presser on the Capitol Mall outside the building that is home to the Oregon Department of Transportation, also known as ODOT.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Christine Drazen. I am the House Republican leader, and I am here today to stand with my House Republican caucus and share our proposal to help stabilize transportation in the state of Oregon.
Representative Drazen was standing with 9 or 10 other people behind a podium with a sign on it that said, "Stabilizing transportation, protecting your pocketbook."
We have identified approximately $730 million in refocused spending and cost savings, as well as ongoing spending cuts. We are committed to delivering functioning roads across our state without asking Oregonians to pay more.
Representative Boshart Davis came up to the podium to share some details.
ODOT has more than 100,000 square feet of unused office space at their headquarters behind us. Our proposal suggests ODOT lease 70,000 square feet of it. This would save an estimated $56 million per biennium. Additional proposed cuts include the bicycle and pedestrian program, which would save $47 million per biennium. We're also proposing cutting 3% of agency overhead.
After questioning from the Oregonian, Republicans later acknowledged that they had vastly overestimated how much ODOT might take in from leasing unused office space. Dirk's questions during the press conference were not picked up by the microphone, but he asked twice if the Republicans were committed to voting against tax increases associated with transportation. They did not give him very direct answers.
We have today a proposal which will stabilize the Department of Transportation without a tax increase. So my question to my Democrat colleagues is, why are they so determined to raise taxes when they don't have to?
And as they continue to start with, we need to increase taxes. If that's their only starting point, I continuously push back. So what they choose to do is on them, and I will continue to represent the caucus. I will continue to represent Oregonians and say we're not starting with taxes.
Following this press conference, we went back to the OPB office at Gatke Hall for Dirk to file some stories about the Republicans' proposal. Covering the Capitol involves a lot of walking. My step count for the day was over 12,000. We're leaving the Capitol now at 4:52. What have you been doing for the last couple of hours? We went to a press conference that ended about 2:30.
Yeah, I sweated and wrote furiously as I tried to figure out what had just been said. So synthesize the information, get it out to a story that people can understand.
So you wrote a digital story and you sent audio clips.
Yeah.
An audio story
That's
to be
right.
recorded.
I sent a clip that we can use on the air with some scripts I wrote.
Nice.
This is the type of thing where it's not just one event. So like, yes, the House Republicans say this, and so you don't want to just reflect one side. So part of it is taking time to reach out to some of the constituencies and interest groups that have really been invested in this conversation on road funding to see what they think, and obviously ask the Dems what they make of this, and I don't think they're big fans. So, figuring out what people think, getting on the phone and chatting with folks, adding that to our coverage, and hopefully doing that in a relatively short period of time because I have to get home. I can't stay at the Capitol until 6 or 7 every night like maybe we used to because I now have a toddler.
Okay.
Well, wait, I have a question.
Yeah.
What stands out? Like, was there something that felt revelatory or particularly interesting or like unexpected or notable? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed the pageantry of the floor session just because I don't get to see that very often. And I do think as we're in this era of increasing disrespect for cultural norms around government, I guess I see the importance of that more than I maybe would have before.
You can read full coverage of the Oregon Legislature by Dirk VanderHart and the rest of the ever hardworking OPB politics team at opb.org. And if you want to geek out on local politics, there's another great podcast for you to listen to, OPB Politics Now. Thanks for listening to The Evergreen, also a podcast from OPB. Coming up next time, when you hear the words craft or artisan mentioned together with Portland, you might think of beer or coffee. But did you know that Portland also has a vibrant boutique audio manufacturing industry? Next week, we'll hear about amplifiers, custom-made guitars, effects pedals, and more. Julie Sabatier produced this episode, and our technical director is Stephen Cray. The OPB podcast team also includes Mia Estrada and Sage Van Wing. Julie Sabatier and Dirk VanderHart did the interviews you heard. Thanks to Legislative Media for the sound from the House and Senate floor sessions. The music in this episode is from Audio Network. And hey, if you have a question for us, even if it's a super wonky one about the state government, please reach out. Email theevergreen@opb.org. I'm Jen Chavez. Catch you later.
You sure gotta climb a lot of steps to get to this Capitol building here in Washington. Well, I wonder who that sad little scrap of paper is.
I'm just a bill, yes, I'm only a bill, and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. Well, it's a long, long journey to the Capitol.